Good evening.
Everywhere I go on this island, it seems to me I find degeneracy.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
We have a bargain.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Do you feel the pain? Oh, it's the pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
His entire work consists of violence, all the time, obsessed with the issue of violence. Mayhem, gouging out of eyes, autopsies on the stage.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Welcome all. Double feature horror show episode 199. Going to be a significant one next. And this is a member request stream once again. Yeah, we are rounding off all those member requests from member mandate May. Don't worry about it. We get around to those requests as promptly as we can. And this was a bit of a delight. Can't believe we haven't covered it yet. Robert Eggers, The Witch. And I'm noticing from Lawrence's comment, we will not be saying The Vitch, don't worry. We're going to hold off on that. We're going to respect it. I'm joined for this fantastic stream by Murgoot as ever. Hello, Murgoot.
Hello, all. Hope you guys are having a great day, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. I know for Mr. Gently Benevolent, if he ever shows up, it's morning, early morning for him. So
6 a.m. and the perfidious Aussie immediately whips out a laptop and starts spamming filth in the chat. You've got to respect the commitment.
He's on that grind set.
Absolutely. And Harry, you were requested for this one.
Hello,
So
whoever requested me, I'm sorry. Continuing my trend of topsy-turvy audio, I brought all of my equipment with me. I brought my desk with me. I brought my microphone with me. But I left my XLR in my guitar case, which I did not bring with me. So I'm coming to you from the bathtub yet again.
It's just the contact from Boomer Carl. You caught Boomer audio. There's no cure.
Yeah, at least I've not caught Boomer opinions yet.
Not yet. You're trying to push back against the tide.
Against the tide, yes.
Bless you. Well, we'll get into it. And actually, one other thing. Good song, Harry.
Oh, thank you very much.
Good song.
Cheers. Anyone listening who's not checked it out yet, Worship of Man, me and Chris Gard. It's on YouTube. It's had a very positive response so far. Please check it out. I'm really, really proud of it, and I'm really glad to actually have it out. Some of the musical ideas in that song are 10 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to finally have done something with them. Also, PH, have you shared this out on Twitter while we're shilling? Have you? I don't recall.
I put it out.
Have I been tagged?
I think I did. You know what it is? I did a QT. I did a quote tweet. That's what it's going to be.
Because normally I share these things out. You need to share them with me if you're going to do that.
Broheim. Tell you what, I'll get the grift on.
I'm just gonna share it out now because obviously I'm the guy who brings everyone.
Unironically, it's the Harry Thirsters.
God, after that post that I put out shilling my gig, which you should all come to if you're in the London area, by the way, next Saturday, playing with my band, The Mandrakes, in support of a women's safety initiative. We're going to do a cover set. It's going to be great. But yeah, the little video post that I did was split almost evenly between women thirsting after me, which brings me no pride to say, and men going, dude, looking good.
Do you know that the meme post of like the guy wanting to lift and like he's picturing himself covered, being adored by the bodacious babes, as Wayne would call them, and then the reality is just loads of bros tweaking his muscles, being like, "Nice, bro."
Yeah,
Is it real?
It is real. One of Jay Burden messaged me out of nowhere and was like, "You're looking good, man. That gym work's doing good for you." I was like, "Yeah, the stereotypes are true."
Yeah, they'll all have included no homo, so it's all good. It's all good.
They all had their fingers crossed. They were wearing socks. It doesn't count.
Oh, exactly. If there's no spherical contact, it is all good.
So what you're saying is I need to put up a barrier next time. Great, good idea, good idea.
Absolutely pedagogic. That's the way we ride here. All right. Well, while people
before the
flood
stream gets too Talmudic, let's move on.
Yeah. We'll just say thank you to Twitter for not sharing QTs. Appreciate that. That's brilliant. Thank you for doing the show yourself, Harry. That is much appreciated. And just do the usual grifting here. Obviously, links to the lovely people on the stream are in here. Follow Murgoot and Harry on Twitter. You almost certainly are. Buy Islander. Go to the gig. Listen to Harry's song. All of these good things.
Also, part 1 and 2 of our in-depth film series on David Lynch are out now on the website. You can check out the previews on Twitter and YouTube, but if you want the full edited experience, please go to the website and subscribe. We're really happy with those.
Yeah, I'm looking for it now. Where are we? Here we go. This is what you want. Career of David Lynch, part 2. We cover Wild at Heart. We cover Blue Velvet. We cover The Lost Highway. And it awkwardly quits after I do my schizo posting and say what I think's going on in Lost Highway. And then Josh is like, well, we're out of time. And I really felt like I needed to keep my tinfoil on a bit longer.
Got to end it on a high note. If you don't end on the schizo post, it's an anticlimax.
Yeah. Oh god, how are we even going to handle Inland Empire? I haven't watched it. I've got to dig in. It'll need a couple.
You've not
of
watched
watches.
Inland Empire?
Nope.
I would suggest. No, actually, no. I wouldn't suggest psychedelic substances to go with it. You might lose sight of your own ego and become a completely different person.
Well,
the one that I've not
it's
watched
what David
that I'm
Lynch
really
would
looking
want.
forward to is what's it called?
Straight
The
Story?
Straight Story. Yeah, I've never watched The Straight Story, and it seems like in my mind, I'm imagining it's going to be the most sincere and heartwarming film ever made.
It's going to be lovely. I mean, we're going to be completionists now. It's going to be great. Oh, and there is a special grift, an absolute special grift. I don't know if this will work because I bungled this a bit, but there is a goal, a stream goal, and you can only do it for numbers of super chats, not total. I don't know how that works, but we'll give it a go. What I've set, basically, I'm trying to grift for extra cash in this stream for a purpose. Basically, folks, I want, where the heck is it? I want this. Look at this. Old Sovereign Publishing. M.R. James Ghost Stories of an Antiquary. It's a collection of M.R. James stories in a beautiful leather-bound edition. Look at this stuff. Oh,
that's
fabulous.
Lovely.
I know. Oh, it just sends shivers down the spine. These books are absolutely gorgeous. The company, I get the impression they're our guys, and it's brilliant. However, the price makes me absolutely wince. Ooh. So I'm going to grift for it. You chip in, folks. You chip in, fund me, and I will get the book, and you will get a bonus stream. You will get your bonus stream on Alex Garland's Men. And of course, to be equal opportunities, I will open this out to super thanks. And I'll see how it goes at the end of the week. So not too much of a goal to hit, but I'm sure I'll do it. And in fact, the first one's gone. Brilliant. Lawrence kicking us off, kicking the grift off, as Dangerfield would say. proper horror show fans, we don't know how to super chat. Proper horror show. Proper horror show. I will guide thy hand. Yes. See, it'll all be fine. So special Grifton. I'm spending all my money on that and very little of it on this. It's really nice. You ever had hibiscus beer?
Nope.
Lambics? Yes, I've had lambics.
I
Looks
didn't think
very
I'd go for it.
gay.
Oh, come on. Is it gay if it's Belgian?
Yes, that's even worse.
Oh dear. What if I put a little cocktail umbrella in the top, little slice of orange, and I push it through the gay barrier until it's straight again?
No, I feel then you're just veering into fruity, which is the next stage from gay.
Oh dear.
There's recovery from gay, but fruity, you're done. It's over.
It's over. Oh no. In that case, for anyone listening, I have been drinking scotch.
Straight whiskey.
From Scotland, I think.
Yeah,
let's go with that. All right. So so super chats in so I can spend money on a book. You wonderful people who watch on the replay, pitch in a super thanks. That is very welcome. And you will get a bonus stream, which some of you will hate, because I'm going to be making the case that Alex Garland's Men is not, in fact, the usual toxic Hollywood propaganda, but is in fact the most based film to come out in recent memory. I'll make it happen.
Very interested in that. Also, before we go into the film, before we start the horror itself, I have my own little horror story that I want to relate to the audience. So I've been up since 5. I've done some very intense cardio after I finished work, and I'm running on popcorn right now. So I don't know if this was some kind of delusion, vision that the deep recesses of my mind conjured for me. But on the way back, before I got to my hotel, I stopped off at a local Sainsbury's in Swindon. And when I get there, I need to make use of the urinal. So I head straight for the toilets. I get to the toilets, and directly in front of the door to the men's, as soon as you go through, is the cubicle. And the cubicle, the door was wide open, and a man was sat in the cubicle, looking out, straight out the door, doing his business with the door wide open. I almost caught eye contact with him, but I immediately moved past, went to the urinal and did my business, washed my hands, and on the way out, didn't look in, but the door opened out of the cubicle.
What?
So I just slammed it on the way out of the toilet in his face to let him know, you don't do that, sir. I don't know which I hope more. I don't know if I would prefer if this was some delusion that I was suffering due to sleep deprivation, or if some absolute foul beast didn't close the door in the cubicle while he was doing his business.
My goodness.
So those are the sort of like everyday mundane horrors that one experiences in Swindon.
Bloomin' heck. What is going on in Swindon, honestly? And all I can say, Harry, thank goodness you didn't make eye contact, because frankly, at that point, you might as well drink hibiscus lambic beer. You committed at that point.
So there's my little horror story, and I did see that Daniel Hall sent in a very generous super chat of $5. I almost didn't send this after Harry's horror story. Well, I'm glad you decided to make the brave decision to send it anyway. At least it was worth it.
Yeah. Oh my word. Wow. Sharing is caring.
I didn't get a proper look at whether he was like a native Swindon or a new Swindonian, because honestly, the second I realized what was happening, my eyes were anywhere in that room except in that cubicle.
Oh gosh darn it. Just seriously. Oh bloody hell.
Yeah, we are in the ashes, my friends. Some might say we are in the toilet bowl of civilization.
That is absolute ashes. Crikey, bloody hell. Well, I will try and rescue us from that, but I'm quite haunted.
Imagine how I feel.
I just
Oh.
it's up there, like, you know the older train toilets with their mind on their own. I'm almost certain that they're connected to a network of sadistic billionaires, and sometimes when they're bored in a a progress meeting, that they just log into the train torture cam and just from distant, they just remotely open the door.
That has always been a fear of mine in those. It's not happened to me before, but I have been stood near one of them when it's opened before, and a man whose life flashed before his eyes scrambled as fast as he could to get it closed.
That's a two schools of thought, isn't it? Because I've seen the mad scramble, but I've also seen the man just sort of, he was about 40 and he just sat there and sighed.
He just accepted it.
Just
Dear.
Oh, well, that's happened.
Anyway, I think the chat is right. We should move on.
Sorry, we will move on.
Moving on from scatology, yes.
Chat, let us know. Would you sprint or would you? No. Okay, we're moving. We're moving. All right. Yeah. So I think you probably all know this film. I'm not going to go too much into the overview. This is very well known. This is early A24, catching people a little unawares, not knowing what they were going to get. A very early Robert Eggers. Is that actually his debut?
It's his first full length.
Yeah, the shorts. He had done shorts before. I apologize. I should have looked that up actually. Where's his shorts? There we go. Yeah, short films. Hang on, what the shit? He did Telltale Heart?
Yep.
My dude did an adaptation of the Telltale Heart, right? Well, we're looking that up later. And it is an attempt to, as the title gives away, is an attempt to approach folk horror from the American perspective in a very honest way. So if people weren't around here earlier in the year, I'd recommend going back. We did a series on classic folk horror, which is a very subtly, not really subtle, reactionary English school of horror, mostly emanating from the late 60s to the mid 70s, where you got a very peculiar subgenre of horror reacting to some excesses of modernity that were shaking up English society. And it was quite a thing for a while, but followed on in the late 2000s, it kind of came back. We got new folk horror, and we did a whole series on that and whether it could actually have the same effect, same intent as the original folk horror, because obviously the country had changed rather significantly in the 40 years since the first wave of folk horror. Probably, I think, particularly from around 1997 when something happened. I'm not sure what.
House prices just rose for no reason.
Spontaneously. It's going to be all that GDP. So, by the way, Dr. Prepper has already kind of won the chat with this one. We appreciate that, Dr. Prepper, from scatology to eschatology. Yes, we'll we get a little apocalyptic with this one. But there's a really interesting question you can ask over whether you can do folk horror if you are not English. We did cover Midsummer in the new folk horror, and there's a real argument that while it really does fit a lot of the aspects of folk horror, and I'm not going to repeat everything from the stream, it most definitely was not the English vision, being that it came from a Jewish American director. And a lot of the kind of horror that was in there was very specifically from a Jewish perspective. Robert Eggers, I think, has no qualms about accepting that he's doing folk horror in a different way from a distinctly American perspective. And I think we benefit from that greatly. Like, he has imbued this with very authentic American culture. Like, the amount of research he went into this is absolutely incredible.
the original Calvinist Puritan ethic. I mean, I may as well give the Guinness pour right now. It's
go for it.
A family of Puritans are exiled from their plantation for being too puritanical. They question the religious leaders because they don't follow as closely to the Bible as they'd like. They get exiled. They put up a homestead. Things start going wrong. First, the baby is snatched. They think it's a wolf, but it turns out to be a witch wanting a flying potion. Then they run off into the woods looking for food, and it all goes downhill from there until it's discovered who's actually the witch in the family. Nice, succinct little Guinness pour, because otherwise it gives spoilers for everything.
Well, it's a nice, distinct film. It's only 90 minutes, and it's nice and tight.
Oh, it amazed me how short this film is. It just doesn't mess around.
It doesn't drag out any of the sequences. It's a very nicely structured film. There's setup, and then there's breathing room to establish the characters, set piece, breathing room to allow decompression from the set piece, then follows on with set piece, and it takes that kind of structure with the family dynamics all breaking down until you reach the climax. It's very, very well done.
Yeah, it's a real achievement. I mean, before we get into it, and it's one where the plot is pretty simple, but it's all about subtleties and depth. Before we go further, I just want to thank Adam Lotaro, who sent an early super chat. He got in there early, saying, Black Phillip and I remind you to shill always. I shilled super hard. It was wonderful. It was top shilling, the best shilling. And you've topped it up with the second one saying some more money because I don't give a folk. Horror. Thank you. Thank you. The puns are always appreciated. I think that that gets us closer. I'll be doing manual calculations for the old grifteroo here. But thank you, Adam, for helping us.
My member chat didn't get counted.
Oh, don't worry. I'm counting that. I'm going to be adding in our replay folks anyway. And so, yes, it's all welcome. It's all welcome. Now, there's so much we could cover in this. We're not going to go exhaustive. There's a chap called Novum who does absolutely amazing analysis videos, deep research. He goes into 4, 6, 7 hours on a particular film. His one on The Witch is 7 and a bit hours.
I'm going to have to watch this. That sounds amazing.
Recommended. It's really good. In The Witch in particular. Now, I've got to warn you, Harry. As you will not be surprised, he's a bit of a progressive, but he has really tempered it in The Witch. He's sometimes
you kind of have to, because this film. Yeah. Well, one of the things that I like about the pacing of this film as well, just to follow on a moment from what I was saying, is that it dispels what could have been, in a quite dull way, the central mystery immediately, which is a different film and a different director would have said, oh, is there a witch, or is it that they're eating all of this rotten food that's messing with their minds? The spores is giving them hallucinations and turning them... No. Baby goes missing, and you're immediately shown, here is the witch. And she shows up again nearer to the middle or towards the end of the second act of the film to reinforce your mind is not playing tricks on you. I'm not joking. There is a witch, which leaves the mystery up to, is there an insider? Is there someone who's made coven with the witch in the family? Or is the witch acting alone and tearing them apart from the inside using tricks? And I think that's more interesting, rather than, it would have been a bit more generic to go like, ooh, is it all in their heads? No, the devil is at work in this film, and there is no ambiguity about that.
Very much so. The devil is real. He is disgusting, absolutely unequivocally evil. You're going to know that for a start, and then beyond that, it's a question of what in particular was he doing and how. So you still get to have guesswork, but it's not exactly like, are these just crazy superstitious people? Oh my God, religion's so dumb. No, none of that for a start. Eggers is, you are the big Eggers guy, but he is someone who impresses me by committing to the world he creates. And in this case, he really wanted to build the world that these people lived in, where they fear witches and witches are there. Like, he is committed to that.
Yeah, he treats the characters and their perspective and worldview with respect.
Yeah,
he does very much the same in both The Lighthouse and The Northman, where he blends both the reality of their situation and also incorporates the mythological as a real and tangible part of the world as well. I'm thinking in The Northman of the scene where Amleth confronts the Draugr.
Yeah, the super zombie from hell. Yeah. This one, this is set 20 years before the Salem witch trials. It's not mentioned, but some of the lines seem to come from Der Hexenhammer, the Hammer of the Witches, that was used by the Witchfinder General in his Inquisition in England. And it's very, very interesting. Robert Eggers,
sorry, Murgoot, sorry.
Eggers did a wonderful job of researching it, and it's absolutely beautiful. The other thing, when I was doing my research, when filming, if at all possible, everything was filmed in natural light or in candlelight, which is impressive.
Stanley Kubrick seal of approval right there.
Yeah, it had that look to it, and I think it's extra impressive because the film has a dark and naturalistic look, but it's never dark in the way that, say, later Game of Thrones was dark, where you can't tell what's going on. Everything's always clear, but it feels murky and somewhat unknowing, which is good for a film that is a lot of it is almost reflective of this. I was considering this because this is something I know I have to something that's reflected in like Twin Peaks as well, which is this
drink.
It's like this American from an outside perspective as an Englander, the forests in England are like whimsical, magical places of whimsy. You know, we've cleared out the forests here of all wolves and have done for centuries. So they're perfectly safe places for the most part. And they're small enough mostly that there's not much of a risk of getting lost in them. And if you do get lost in them, if you encounter anybody, they're probably just going to be a friendly hiker who can point you on your way. Whereas the vast unknowable expanse of the American forests for the Americans and the New Englanders who went over there seems to hold a much darker mystery to it. They're still magical places, but there's darkness within the American woods, and this really seems to occupy quite a lot of the American mind, like how in Twin Peaks the forests are the host of dark entities with unknowable feelings and unknowable goals. In this, it's literally the home of a coven of witches who are in pact with the devil.
Yeah, you can really feel that they've been exiled, that they've been banished from the plantation. It's wild. They find a valley with a river going through it and settle in the clearing there, but everywhere around them is just this dense, foreboding forest. that the mother is freaked out about, and it's evil. We can't let the kids go in there. She absolutely freaks out about it even beforehand.
Yeah, I'll just to add to that, I was getting some of the screenshots just so you can see how beautiful it is, but just one of the things that he's done here is make sure this forest looks absolutely endless to you. Now you often see the characters stand before the forest with it consuming their view. It looks endless, it's like a foreboding wall to them. But even inside it, Eggers will frequently choose shots where just the trees stretch up from the bottom of the frame all the way through the top, which again just makes it look endless vertically as well.
Yeah.
It's a really good way of making it look like you have no sense of orientation, like you are out of the world. And I think the Twin Peaks comparison there is very apt. It's a very distinct, separate place where the rules have broken down. Now, there's just something I want to add, because I was kind of thinking with a 7.5 hour mega video on this, what can we do? And I thought one of the things we could focus on is the areas that say, if you have a more progressive viewpoint, you might not get to. And I'm not having a go at Novum. He tries his best and he does an amazing job, but there are just some areas where I feel the progressive instincts lead him into an interpretation that maybe isn't there. And obviously, I'm going to do the same thing myself. I like my own special readings, but just for an example, and I thought of this one because someone in the chat brought In These Goings Down mentioned it. So in the scene early on, when you get a really rare look inside the plantation, and this was filmed at a reenactment museum, a living history museum, which is just amazing to make use of their tiny, tiny budget. You get this shot of a couple of Indian hunters and a chap who is with them, also carrying furs. So presumably he's a business guy with them who translates for them, who represents them. In this scene, you see that, and Novum kind of goes on to some quite impressive stuff about which tribe they're probably from. And he says it's there as a reminder of, how oppressive the society is going to be of them, that the oppression runs not just along gendered lines, but racial lines, and it's a foreboding about the kind of world they're in. Et cetera, et cetera. Did you know the Native Americans were treated badly? Was being, what's the phrase? Innocent baby angel Aladdins? I'm sure I've heard that phrase somewhere.
Scalping was just propaganda by those evil white Englishmen.
Yeah. So In These Goings Down has got a really nice one here. I've got my own take on what seeing them means, but I just wanted to read this, and I thought maybe check in with you guys what you thought the sight of these two meant. But just to read In These Goings Down comment, because I thought that's a really nice angle on it. Love the scene where the Indian turns his head and looks on in awe as he sees the family leaving the fortified plantation. He knows they won't last a week out there. That is a really interesting take. I like that angle. I like it. It's how about you, Murgoot? What did you think seeing them meant?
It's typical of what the English and the French did when they colonized North America. They realized that they had a lot of shortcomings, and they bought and sold from the various tribes. I would say, judging by their look, they would be the northern 7 nations, which includes the Iroquois, but I'm not sure which one of the Algonquin tribes they are. But they were fur trappers. They would trade for steel items. They would trade for guns. And the English were fully willing to give them that, because no matter how harshly they were treated, they were also too useful not to be allies with. He did a good job with that. Just showing they've hit the town. These are the two that have been designated as the traitors. And then later on, when William trades the silver cup for steel traps, that's dealing with the Indians is necessary for their survival.
Yeah. So in short, it sounds like it's just commitment to historical accuracy. Like, sounds legitimate. I don't feel that these guys are being looked down in scorn. I don't think they're being made to look more slavish than, say, the women just ahead of them. You can't really see in the shot that they're carrying heavy pails. How about yourself, Harry? Any reading from this? Why these guys are there?
There's not that much that I can add to it, other than just it's just another indication that they are stepping from outside of what small society that they've been able to establish over there. There's protection within civilization, even against Indians, because I suppose one thing it could be suggesting is these Indians looking at them, they could think of them as easy prey later on. Wherever they end up moving, well, they were within these fortified walls. Now the Indians could look upon them as an easy target. When they return to their tribe, they go, there's a family isolated and alone. We'll track them down. They've got valuables with them and we'll steal them. Obviously, that doesn't end up happening, but there is always that risk. So it's just another...
There's the risk, but the Seven Nations quickly allied with the English Puritans. That's one of the reasons 150 years later why they had... the French had a hell of a time with the 7 Years' War, the French and Indian War, because the Seven Nations were fully allied with the British, very warlike, very organized, and very civilized for what they were doing. I could go on and on about... I'm not going to history dump.
Well, that's very interesting, is frankly, this period of American history, or at least the relations with the natives, the American Indians, is not something I'm as familiar with. I have a number of books on it, but I've not got around to reading them yet. I've got one by Thomas Goodrich called Scalp Dance, which is about kind of the wars following the Civil War. I think it's 1867 to 71 or something. I picked that up on recommendation that if you want to know like how brutal the warfare could be, that's a good one.
Is that about the Lakota or is that about the Cheyenne? Because they're both going on at the same time. The Cheyenne were so brutal.
Let me double check that. Indian warfare on the High Plains, 1865 through to 1879. Mighty Sioux and Cheyenne nations.
Both. Okay.
From the Sand Creek Massacre through Custer's Last Stand to the final defeat of the Sioux and Cheyenne nations. I need to get around to reading it, but it does seem like a really fascinating period of history.
Yeah, I grew up about 20 miles away from a Lakota Sioux reservation, and I learned a lot of history from both sides.
Okay. So there are complexities there, but they could be fearing, although historically we don't know. But I'll throw in another one.
Oh, they're the only non-Englishmen that you see in the film, and you only see them for this one shot, and it does feel like the film is putting a certain emphasis on them. So I feel like Eggers probably had some, even if it was just they're stepping away from civilization, and the civilization that had even been able to work in collaboration with the Indians, that they were stepping away from that safety.
Yeah. I'll throwing another one. Yeah, it's just a reminder that where you're leaving, it's what you might consider a savage place, or at least a very alien place. That's another potential warning, like, oh gosh, who is out there with us? Or there could be a kind of one where it bolsters the father, William's point of view. And that sort of depends on what he leaves for. But the whole point is that early on, he refuses in a very Chad way to submit to the rule of the council, absolutely based. Now, there's a bit of a disagreement over what he leaves for, but the fact that they have Indians, heathens as he would see it, just freely going about the plantation and trading might be a thing where he says, well, he thinks it's a fallen society and he's right to remove his family to keep them pure. It could be that too.
He does end up trading with them later, though, so
yeah.
That would be a point of hypocrisy. That would be, I mean, if that was the reason,
he's proven to be a hypocrite on many occasions. I think
so
they all
himself,
do.
Yes. Also, just while we're on William, Ralph Ineson, fantastic choice for this.
Absolutely.
Even though at points his voice is literally so deep during the weeping scene that it's not that he's weeping so hard I can't hear what he's saying. His voice is so deep I can't tell what he's saying. But it is a wonderful and commanding voice.
You can aspire to it. Yeah, if you have surround sound close enough to the chair, it becomes a date movie. Anyway, moving swiftly on. It's a family-friendly stream, guys. Don't know what you meant. There is a bit of a question over what he gets expelled for. A bit of a controversy. If you listen to Novum, it's he's a separatist who likely disagrees over the stance on baptism. And
that's part of it.
Yeah,
there's he's an Anabaptist, but most of the Calvinists at this time, he's also a hardline literalist, which he's harder line literalist than most of the New England Puritans were. They were hardcore, but he's far more hardcore, just the way he talks about things.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, if for an alternative, there is David. So from David Church's post-horror art, genre, and cultural elevation, Church reckons that William is probably leaving because of he's part of the 1630s antinomian controversy, which is believing that only the individual could judge his or her inward beliefs. So basically rejecting the authority of the council. Which maybe
he's a libertarian.
More like kind of a rejection of the human council, but surrendering all of the authority up to God, which is sort of supported by what he says when he goes out with Caleb hunting in one of my favorite scenes in the film. He's just basically saying, look, we don't know, it's all up to God, it's God's decision, which I think kind of fits it and maybe helps us a sort of Calvinist interpretation, like, look, God has already decided, we just have to do our best. So it could be that as well. But if the root of his leaving is a rejection of the group authority, I think that probably leads in. That has quite an impact on how we might interpret the film going on, in terms of what message might be in there, but don't necessarily want to push on that. I did actually talk about this film with the Old Glory Club quite a while ago, and we went quite into the sort of antinomian controversy stuff, so I don't want to go on to it too much here because I want to give you guys fresh stuff. So those were just a couple of things I wanted to point out. By the way, is this scene like, does this give you like the best kind of 28 years later vibes?
Somewhat. Yeah, the rite of passage style, but it's not quite as organized as that. It's don't tell your mom, but we're going in. I've laid traps so we can get some food, but don't tell your mom. That's not so much rite of passage as mom's gonna freak out.
Yeah, the poor problem for little Caleb, bless him, is that he's trying to. He's getting his rite of passage from a man who is demonstrably useless at doing everything except cut wood and recite Bible verse. Sadly, that's all that this man is shown to be good for through the course of the film. Of course, we know that there is a lot of behind-the-scenes trickery going on with the witch herself, and I do wonder if he is as useless as the events in the film portray him as being. Or, for instance, when they are tracking down the rabbit, which I would assume is the witch in some kind of glamour, because of the emphasis.
Either the witch or her familiar. The forest hare in New England witch mythology was seen, especially the milk hare, as being a familiar and drinking off the third teat, used as a spy or a transformation. And that's why it seems unnatural to the horse, the dog.
But he takes the shot at the rabbit, and we're shown that it's not just that he misses the shot; it's that the flash of the gunpowder goes off directly in his eye as well, which suggests to me that this was some kind of magic being played on him. And I can imagine that the witch.
I took it as he just had no clue how to use a matchlock properly.
I mean, perhaps, but it's suggested that he says later on in the film, when he's comforting Thomasin after Caleb passes away, that they've been there for a while, because he says, "Do you remember when we came here and the tree was beautiful? It'll grow there. It'll grow beautiful again come this time next year." Bloody blah blah. So it seems to suggest that they've been at this farmstead for at least a short while. Which suggests
at least
to
9 months, because you can't see Catherine being pregnant when she leaves.
He's probably done some hunting up to this point, and given we know that the witch is manipulating events, the fact it goes off in his eye, it's not just a stray shot goes missing, it goes off in his eye. It feels to me like they're causing little mishaps like that. Maybe they're just keeping the animals away from his traps. He fires the gun, it goes off in his eye, to kind of the way that Thomasin breaks down to him later on in the film and says he's completely useless, you can't do anything, to kind of sow that distrust of him. He's supposed to be the provider. He's supposed to be the man looking after us. He can't. Therefore, all his words of God and all of this isn't bringing us any good fortune, which seems to be perhaps what the witches were trying to do, to try to bring Thomasin over, if she hadn't already made, a pact with them because of her fear of being sold off to another family to prevent her from being another mouth to feed on the farm.
100% on that. I just want to thank Adam Loves Horror for once again sending in another $2. Very much appreciated. Here's some money from the Crow and I for books. Yes, I can feel it. The book is no longer looking excessive. We're on our way. It's adding up. You people on the replay, pitch in. I want to spend a stupid amount of money on this. Where is it? On this utterly gorgeous book. Where is it? Has that turned up yet? Yes, it has. There you go. Look at it. Look at this gorgeous book. I'm going to scan through again. Look at these wonderful things. Well, we're going to support Old Sovereign Publishing. I'm going to get this book. You guys are going to get a bonus stream. I'm getting scarily comfortable shilling. I don't feel good about it. Getting back to this. So, Harry, you might be surprised that in quite a lot of the write-ups of The Witch, people really are down on William, just saying he's useless. He's crap at everything. All these Calvinist Zoomers do is charge they phone, eat hot chip, and chop they wood, etc. I have a particularly unfair essay which says that basically Will's wood chopping is an analogy for masturbation, which I thought was one of those wonderful stretches you can only get from academia. It makes me feel better about the kind of reaches we do here on this channel.
I mean, if it was going to be a metaphor for anything kind of sexual or phallic, surely it would be impotence. rather than masturbation, because he's moving for the sake of moving, acting for the sake of acting without achieving anything. But if people are very unfair on William, obviously I made the joke that he's completely useless. I do feel that all of the misfortune they suffer is being orchestrated by the devil. I mean,
yeah, totally.
it seems that the blight on their crops is lined up perfectly with all of the the baby gets snatched at the perfect time where the crops are going wrong. For everything to line up perfectly for the witches to be able to break this family apart and bring over Thomasin as a new initiate into their coven.
Yeah, they've got their eye on them. Even when they arrive and they select their plot of land, I'm going to try and not say how beautiful this film is over and over again, but I got some yearning to return looking at this. But when they find their bit of land and Will kisses the ground and looks up, Eggers has already got flies in the shot. Incidentally, his commitment to realism and rejecting digital slop was so extensive that they made sure there were actual flies there. It really upset the child actors. So,
from clips that I've seen from behind the scenes, he had a lot of trouble with the child actors as well. Eggers had the feeling of, in the clip that I saw, of a stressed out first time dad who doesn't know how to talk to children yet properly. And it's amazing. There was the one scene where they're all sat at the dinner table in candlelight and they're trying to film the two kids. And the little boy is misbehaving. He's saying, I don't want to eat this sandwich. It's not very nice. I don't want to eat it. Can I not eat something nicer? And Eggers is just getting stressed out. And he's going, come on, just... He's not shouting, but you can tell he would if it wasn't a kid.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, you just hear Ralph Ineson's deep, booming voice go really gently. It's like, come on, you're a good actor, aren't you? We're just acting. You're acting, you're playing pretend as this boy, and he thinks the bread's wonderful. He's just happy to have some food. So you're a good actor. You can pretend, can't you? And the kid perks right up. It's really sweet.
I'm glad you said that, because there's I'm trying to remember a name awkwardly here while I talk. I think I've got it. What's his blooming name? Oh crikey, Leon Vitali. Yeah, there's a really quite sweet thing where, yeah, just like you said, Eggers wasn't quite sure what he was doing all the way. He was struggling with the animals. He was struggling with the children. And famously, you're not meant to work with either of them.
Yeah, it didn't help with the animals that the animal handlers, they'd chosen the perfect goat to play Black Phillip. And Black Phillip, the goat, was as evil as Black Phillip in the movie.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, I heard they had
the
to cut
evil
a load
goat.
of planned scenes because they just wouldn't have been able to pull them off because of how bad the goat was.
Yeah, the goat attacked the film dolly.
Amazing. Well,
That's the first ever method acting goat I've heard of.
yeah, just on it. So Ralph Ineson, being a far more seasoned actor, basically said, look, I will coach the child actors and do that directing for you, because he knew how to work with the kids. Eggers did not.
He got really damn good performances out of them.
He really did. It reminded me of Leon Vitali, Stanley Kubrick's assistant, on Barry Lyndon, just sort of stepping in and being the child actor wrangler, basically, because he had been a child actor himself, so he knew how to talk to them.
Yeah, waifu, goats really be that way? Yeah, certain breeds are just plain evil.
Yeah, where is the little bugger?
I've had a goat try and square up to me before.
They will, you know.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it was quite funny.
There we go. Let's get Black Phillip on there. You know, there's there's a thing early on. So Mercy and Jonas are the two little kids. I don't know if I've got a better shot of them, but those two, I always thought from the start, like we're pretty much being told that they are being influenced from the very beginning, right? Like I'm not trying to say this in a mean way, but the two child actors, they look a bit impish, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They look a bit goblin-y. They're short, they've got quite wide faces.
They're
get
creepy.
Vibes. Yeah. They're a little creepy.
Yeah.
They've got that impish
well,
face.
They speak about talking to Black Phillip, and they sing rhymes about Black Phillip, and then they taunt Black Phillip with songs.
They let him out of his enclosure and start skipping after him.
And then taunting him with the switches.
Mm.
It's... Yeah, they're little devil children.
And I think I don't think they know what they're doing, and they're not fully on board, because there's scenes where they're trapped in the shed. They are looking scared as well, and I think if they were fully in on the deal, they wouldn't be. And also in the end of the movie, they're very clearly killed as well, but they're killed off screen. No,
I've got to say,
I have that
swear...
scene here, and I thought the goats were a stand-in for them. It's a
Yeah.
very Rob Agar point, but I thought I'd make it.
We've already had enough dead children's corpses in this film. I swear Eggers has it written into whatever contract for any film that he does that he has to kill at least one child in each film. Multiple, if possible.
We call that the Danny Boyle clause.
Yes.
Except it doesn't feel like it's in the sort of edgy boy way that Danny Boyle likes to do it.
Dead children versus full frontal male nudity. Yeah.
Thank God you don't combine them.
We call that the Harvey special.
Oh,
But,
no.
Yeah, not yet.
I thought that was called the Polanski.
Oh, yeah. He picture Eggers in there. Now listen, he's having trouble with the child actors. He's like, look, you do this take. I've got Roman in the back room. Don't make me fetch him. Gosh, yeah. I feel like is that a particular thing that you guys would like to discuss about it? Because I don't want to direct this too much. I realize that's leaving everything absolutely wide open. Actually, can I say that handing over to you guys and then stealing the mic back immediately? Just since we're talking about Ralph Ineson and how amazing he is, I thought it was very well chosen that his name is Will, and it struck me like effectively his problem is pride. aka he's got too strong a will. But I thought it was a cool thing that it was basically his will keeping everything going. And because there's so much hate towards him, I just always want to stand up for him and be like, he's kind of a model in that things are getting bad and all he does is just commit to his family and absolutely like make him a plow horse of himself. He's totally self-sacrificing for their good, and he's just does what needs to be done. And I think that's
even down to lying to his wife, lying to his kids, lying to himself. I mean, he is a hypocrite, but he was trying to do his best.
It's all for the good. I mean, if he weren't Chad enough with those axe swinging muscles, he's a pretty good, like, he's a good role model, I feel like. I mean, am I crazy for that?
He's trying to be.
Yeah, he's doing his best in the very difficult situation that the characters find themselves in. His problem is that he's literally got the devil in his farm. Like Black Phillip is a conduit for the devil. So this is one of those horror stories where it brings on the question of determinism and fate and inevitability. Because you ask yourself, in those circumstances, would anything that William had been able to do saved them?
Oh,
Aside from leaving, no.
But even then, when Caleb and Thomasin sneak out and manage to lose the horse, and they say it's a day's ride back to the plantation, and then you're having to consider to leave the farm by the time that they've realized that things are bad enough that they do all need to leave the farm. The horse is gone. They've got no quick mode of transport. They'd be walking out in the wilderness, exposing themselves to the elements. They'd be moving slow because they've got the whole family with them, including 2 small children. How do you get out of that situation? His best bet was, right, as soon as it hits morning at dawn, I'm going to go there, trade whatever farm goods I can, and come back and get us out of here. But he doesn't get the chance to do that because it's that night that the witch attacks the witch and Black Phillip attack the farm.
Yeah, he's screwed. Look, what can he do? He is out on his own. It's just him and his faith, and like you say, the devil is working against him. Lawrence being cheeky. One key detail that all but the most observant viewers may miss is that Thomasin has the word sin skillfully hidden in her name. Dodoy. But I mean,
10 key details you may have missed from the witch.
Wait, can I get that? Let's get the massive red circle on here. Just
and a nice red arrow.
Dun dun dun. Does he know?
Just pointing directly at his abs.
Yep. I'm just leaving that up for reasons. And I want to taste hibiscus. Is that? And anyway, I do think Thomasin is. I mean, is that an accident? Doubting Thomas, right? I did try and think through all the names. Do they have a connection? And the only ones that really stand out to me are Will and Thomasin for the Doubting Thomas connection. I don't really get a lot from Caleb. Mercy isn't exactly merciful. Jonas. Yeah, I couldn't see anything in any of the other names. I don't know if I'm missing something. I will welcome suggestions if there is a particularly loaded meaning in the other names, but I didn't get it. There are a few references here to creepy twins echoing The Shining.
Yeah. I can see that. There's also the Caleb's sin is lust. He's looking at his nubile sister with lust, feels guilty about it, and causes him to stick around too long. It's one of those things that just, it hints at very bad family problems at this point.
Which may in fact be a Shining reference of its own if you go with one of the Rob Agar reads on that film. But I mean, while we're talking Caleb's sin, we do have a couple of Shining connections. I don't feel I can skip past them. It's a sort of a Pavlovian instinct to point out references to The Shining. But something you may have caught very, very early on in the film, which doesn't recur until I think the very end, is you get a Jorgi Ligeti style bit of sort of shrieking choral music, which is used in The Shining and also in 2001. Kubrick leaned on Ligeti a lot more for 2001, but he did include him in The Shining. And then most of the rest of the sort of classical music that he uses in The Shining is Penderecki. But the Ligeti choral work is very distinctive and definitely used in the early part just of the film. We've also got our beautiful woman here, who, when you get up close...
The mangled arm.
Yep. You think you're getting her straight out of the bathtub. What you actually get... Oh, have I got my disgusting hag? Here we are. I don't know if you guys can see her. It's really dark.
It's really dark. But yeah, the disgusting hag using a glamour with one of her potions.
Mm.
Um,
So yes, the nubile woman who turns out to be a disgusting, rotten old hag. There's our
Don't they
Shining
all?
references. Yeah. So I mean,
just for certain important women who may be listening to this right now, that was a joke. That was a joke.
what did you think of the portrayal of the witch here? How about you, Harry? How did you feel about Egger's portrayal of witches?
Excuse me. Oh, I don't know. It feels quite classic to me. I know, obviously, she's not wearing the big. Well, at least when she's old, she's not wearing the big hat or some kind of red frock or anything. You see her kind of in something like that when she's got herself glamoured, but she's naked. But other than that, she seems pretty much to be a standard representation of an old crone witch.
Yeah,
she's got no redeeming features whatsoever. She's more of a malevolent force in the world than she is a character. She exists to bring upon misfortune to those that she targets.
Well, Eggers did dive deeply into New England folklore. You can tell the influence is there of the Hammer of the Witches and Cotton Mather's writings. I mean, there's the stereotypical old crone witches who live out in the woods and go skyclad and use the fat of a newborn baby to make flying potions. That's all in New England myth and in English myth. And down to the third nipple, which you can see in one scene.
It's a very bold move, I think, to literally have them flying on a broomstick. And you think if someone tells you that, you're like, that is some corny, what, does she wrinkle her nose to cast a wish too while we're at it? No,
she uses a potion made of baby fat.
Yeah.
Sacrifices baby fat.
It's got the risk though. You could totally, if you're given those ingredients, she makes potions with babies and she rides on a broomstick. It could sound corny as hell, but Eggers is just committed and will show you and shows you an extremely distressing scene of what happens to the baby.
Yeah, it reminds me of you mentioned Ari Aster earlier. His debut feature, Hereditary. How the ending, the last 15 minutes of that film, can really go one of two ways for people. I found it creepy and scary. I know loads of people who found it really comical, especially when the mother is crawling over the walls in the darkness. And I will admit that was a somewhat of a corny visual, but even all of the naked cult members at the end of that film in the house, some people just found it funny because they thought it was absurd. This had that risk, but presents it in such a straightforward way. I think it also helps to introduce the witch by just going, here she is killing a baby. There's not really any way to make light of that.
Shows she's truly malevolent and will do anything to gain the power she wants.
Yeah. This is the reality. This is the thing you've heard about. We're going to show it to you, and in effective, but I would argue not excessive detail. It's it is graphic. What can I show you? I have got a little bit of it. I've given you one shot of a greasy, wrinkled old hag from behind, and a bit of the disgusting salve she creates, the unguent she creates there. It's the sight of going from that to her sort of cackling and rubbing herself in it is quite stomach churning. But I feel like it's on an extremely well judged line where he shows enough to be like, I am not messing around. This is genuinely horrific. this is what you're dealing with, but not so far that it becomes like trauma, you know?
Yeah, he cuts it off. He knows how to edit it at the right point. His
There we go,
timing
Lauren.
is very, very good for this.
Yeah. It's all about, you know, judgment, getting the buy-in. Oh, excellent stuff. And getting you set up for the end. But it is, as Harry said earlier, it's remarkably restrained from this point once it's established really early on that there is a witch. It's a long time where you just get to be paranoid about what exactly she's doing. In these going down, saying there was no question in this film at any time the father did not thoroughly love his wife and children. Even his actions near the end are in trying to save the immortal souls of his children. True. He was not the villain, and it's clear Eggers did not think this either. Yeah, I mean, if you watch the still extremely good video by Novum, all 7.5 hours of it, he tries to push the idea that the film is saying that there are twin evils of the witch and religion, man, because it keeps the women on another side of the room.
What?
I haven't seen the full video. I don't know where he's making the argument. It was partially
his wife is a shrew in the film, and she even admits to being a shrew and apologizes for being a shrew, which is understandable given the circumstances that we're in. But at no point in the film are the women portrayed as being thoroughly downtrodden and oppressed. The only one that you could make that argument for is Thomasin and her fear of being sold off to another family. But given the circumstances they find themselves in, I mean, that's just a rational choice to make. She's of the age where she's coming into her womanhood. She would be an attractive prospect. The family would get good connections, good fortunes from it, and it would be one less mouth to feed. And she would probably be in a better economic and a resource situation as well. Like, where's the woman hating coming into it? Unless, like, outside of the family, the only women portrayed in the film are the witches, who are complete evil.
Well, hold on there, Harry. Now listen, look, the witches may kidnap babies and cut them up for their own purposes, but the church wants women to have babies. So
and when you're trying to survive out in the woods, more hands
around
the farm to help is a good thing.
Yeah,
and the film never questions this.
It's a weak part of the analysis. I think it's one of those areas where progressive leanings really kind of skewed it.
I didn't mention the quote in the film, but out of the Bible, be fruitful and multiply. The Puritans really, the Calvinist work ethic plus be fruitful and multiply really holds true.
Yeah. I mean, they make a point of noting that they've been blessed in that all their children lived up to Samuel, and that was crazy. So, like, yeah, you have many children. Like, of course. In fact, that part of the reason they went to the plantations, they moved over to the New England to spread the faith, and that meant having strong families. In fact, one of the things that particularly helped the growth of these plantations is that Christian families were notably more caring and more valuing of their children than was typical at the time.
Classic Northwest European traits right there. Ed Dutton pilled.
Oh, very, very Ed Dutton.
K-selection, friends. K-selection.
I was just trying to remember which way it was. It's like, wait, which one is us and which one is a Zergarush? Is it R? Are we R? No, we're K selection.
R is ghetto breeding.
Yes. R for rabbit. There we go. That's
Also,
how I'll remember.
While we're on this subject of women and their complicity in evil, which should really go unremarked. It's just such an obvious feature of the world. But Lawrence has pointed out in the chat, saying the one part about the witch which doesn't necessarily work is Samuel's abduction. The thought of the witch zipping past and snatching him in the moments between peekaboos isn't entirely convincing. And this is where I was going to bring up my question.
Ooh, go ahead.
Was Thomasin in on it from the beginning? Or was she slowly turned by the events that happen in the film? Because if she was not on it from the beginning, that could explain why Samuel is abducted so easily, because we're seeing a skewed perspective. We're seeing the trick that Thomasin's pulling. If not, then I would just assume that there's some kind of magic going on to snatch it.
Well, I can give you...
Because there is a lot of evidence, I think, presented through the film to suggest that Thomasin is not innocent. She does seem to be the one sowing a lot of division in the family. She knows that William, her father, loves her and wants to stick up for her, and she kind of plays that dynamic off to put her mother and father at odds with one another. It's suggested that she's purposefully trying to show off her feminine figure to Caleb to try and corrupt him. And there is also the telling scene where they're at the river, and Mercy comes and says that there's a witch, and Thomasin just says outright, explicitly, that she is, and starts to bully Mercy. And maybe she's joking, but I've got to say, she's not acting like she's joking. She's acting like she's just giving, dropping the pretense and giving the truth that she's aligned herself with these witches.
The title is The Witch, and the immediate thing you see after that title is Thomasin.
Yeah, that's
the first thing you ever hear her do is confess her sins.
She's the one who's out with Caleb when they encounter the hare again, and the horse flings her off and they lose the horse. She's always involved in every little bit of misfortune that goes on in this film. She's always at the center of it.
You are right that we have numerous causes to doubt her, and things like confessing to breaking all the 10 commandments in thought alone gets you from the start. Okay, she's a bit doubtful. I noticed when they were going out of basically Will says, screw you guys, I'm going home to the court. She has to be called twice to leave. So she's already a little doubtful, a little disobedient, a little, I don't know about this. So, but she's not openly malicious. I just think it's maybe her faith, her will has that little bit of a gap, a little bit of an opening that the devil sees and is like, I can have that.
Yeah, and I would imagine as well that this is not the first time that she's we know how close they all are together in that house. You can hear each other through the walls when you're upstairs and downstairs. It's probably not the first time she's overheard them speaking about the potential of, when she's a woman, we might be able to find a proper match for her. So she sees herself as being dragged away from civilization into this inhospitable landscape. And then her family's thinking of selling her off. And she's already suffering a crisis of faith. I can see a lot of motivation for her if she was not sincere in her beliefs to align herself with evil.
Well, she already resents her parents for taking her memories of England, glass windows, apples, butter, which is mentioned again when she's talking with Black Phillip. But her mother also resents being taken from England, and she goes on a spiel about that. Is she getting the rebellion and resentment from her mother, or and then being further twisted, or which I would say is proper, but is it teenage rebellion? No, I think it's she already resents being taken from where she's at, and shoved into a foreign land, and then getting tossed off the plantation because her father is too prideful to bow to the council.
Mm.
And it's, yeah, there's a big door for the devil to enter.
I think in all of them, like I think we see them all get worked on. Catherine she's a little covetous.
Mhm.
You know, she just like you said, Catherine is mournful of the house in England. She's particularly proud of her silver cup. You know, actually, oh wait, do I have it in the screenshot? I should have it in the absolutely horrible crow screenshot. Where is it? There we go.
Where she
Oh,
thinks
but
it's
you can't see it.
She thinks it's her son, but it's actually a raven pecking at her.
Yeah, there's just before this angle where she sees her son bring Samuel back, and behind her on the drawer is the silver cup, which is already like cluing you in that, oh, this is wish fulfillment. Oh, thank you very much, Adam's Horror, sending in another $2. Thank you, bankrolling the stream. I appreciate it. Family can't grow if it doesn't get weird soon.
That's true.
Well, I mean, a lot of the Puritans came from Bristol, so I'm just saying it's not that.
Things haven't changed that much then.
Not that much. We should have got Josh on for his special opinion about other areas of Britain where. Anyway, I'll move on. He's not here to defend himself.
So Bristol was the Calvinist hotbed.
Many such cases. Waifu chipping in £5. You want to hear me talk about? Thank you.
We have created the circular economy right here.
We have. Oh, brilliant! Well, you did enjoy it when we watched it, so yeah, I'll take it. Nice. You can't read the book when I've got it though. Keep your greasy hands off. No, thank you very much. Appreciate it. If you want to chip in, help me get the book. I wish to buy a book. Look at book. Come on. Look at this beautiful book. That's right. Chip in. If you're on the replay, chip in. Anyway, back to stuff. Right, we're talking about how the devil has a little in with all of them. And yeah, hers in this horrible dream sequence. Gosh. Sorry, I think there was a point that I just wanted to... There we go. Tricky Menthol, who has an excellent blog I'll put out there, saying Thomasin is the only true believer in the house and that she was the only one who's shown praying when not in danger or in pain. She's the one that the devil would find most worthy and rewarding. I like it. She's the only one we see praying, but gosh, I don't know. I feel if that's an interesting one. I mean, everyone is openly devoted. I think Will, we're pretty darn sure, is devoted, and Caleb is so believing that he has a big fearful conversation with his father when they go out hunting over whether Samuel has gone to hell or not because he wasn't baptized. I'm not as sure about that, but she is definitely a true believer, and certainly being an attractive woman and bizarrely attractive. Like her beauty stands out so much beyond anyone else that she already kind of looks like she doesn't belong. So it feels to me like that also would make her a big prize.
Yeah, her mother definitely envies her and is resentful of her beauty and her age, and it shows through. The mother is so envious that she'll blame her for anything. It comes through loud and clear.
Yeah, we've got a little. Yeah, I like the detail that they all had something that the devil could get, and my own bias speaking is like I think that matches what we understand, that basically everyone has a flaw, everything can be worked on, everyone has a weakness, you know. Oh, hang on. Leslie Russell, who knows quite a few obscure horrors, saying that the witch copies a lot from the movie Eyes of Fire 1983. That is I've never heard of that before. Anyone? Eyes of Fire 1983?
I've heard
No,
of
I
it.
have
I've
not.
never watched it that I know of, unless it was.
That's brand new to me, Leslie Russell. Right, I'm just going to get that up so I can check on that. Thank
It's
you
got
for the
great
recommendation.
artwork for it.
Yeah.
An adulterous preacher and his followers flee to the promised land, only to enter a valley of lust, madness, pagan vengeance, and hallucinatory terror.
Ooh.
Also,
yeah.
classic hour and 30 minutes, budget $2.6 million. So nice.
For 1983, that's a respectable budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. I'm going to have a little look into that one. That never heard of it before. But cheers. So what, I had a note that we have to cover this in the film because I haven't seen it given as much attention. But I want to talk about some of the symbology that Eggers put in and how it relates to a very key question, basically the fate of Caleb. So I did mention in the prep to the stream that I was really interested in this. We got a sort of clue to this that, sorry, I'm losing my words here, folks, that Catherine is holding a red blanket, which she believes her baby is in. Red tends to turn up in this film as a symbol of desire repeatedly. I'll get our saucy, large-boobed witch on again. You can barely see her, though, can you?
Yeah.
It does make her face creepier. You can't see it very well.
It's that sort of, how can I say? How would you describe her look? Because to me, she's got this kind of med Hellenic look, which is a massive difference from the Anglo. And
She looks a bit Hebraic, to be honest.
A bit.
She reminds me of Eva Green, so mixed European Jewish ancestry. I would expect.
You're getting the word Khazar.
Yeah, Khazar, which have been known to turn some men of weaker spirit than I.
Gradually, I began to date them.
Yeah, the
Sorry.
Abigail Shapiro effect.
Yeah, cut that from the stream. No one said that. Move on.
She looks more Mediterranean.
There's definitely, I can't put a better word for it, but luscious, saucy. Like, she's got these really full lips. That it just, the main thing is she just visually contrasts so much with them.
She looks like she's not hard of food.
No.
Yeah.
No.
She lives. She's access to some extravagant things that they don't have, like butter. She's tempting is not just the physical nature of just how she looks. It's what all of it promises to go with it as well. This is a woman who doesn't have to worry about food, who doesn't have to worry about wanting for anything, which is part of the other temptation as well. Easy stuff.
I'm just worried that you meant looking at this woman and mentioning butter is going to summon Bovril Gazelle-Shaft into the stream.
He's always welcome.
Red is a brilliant contrast to all the grays, browns, dark faded greens, the blacks. The red just pops throughout the entire movie. And everything else, the blighted corn, the Indian corn, with its red kernels. That pops, even with the rock going through it.
Yeah.
It's a symbol of wealth and corruption.
Mm.
And then the apples that he's been chasing, it's like
Yes.
he got his reward in the worst way possible from the witch. Spits up, spazzes out, starts talking in somewhat Latin, spits out the apple, and then finds his peace in Christ by prayer, and then dies.
Yes. So we established the red as a color of desire. Very important.
It goes back.
Yes.
He does mention Adam and Eve when he spits up the apple.
Yes. I mean, I feel like the symbology when it's like, what's the symbol of the apple is a kind of a weak point, but the actual fate of Caleb, I think, is pretty interesting because you can debate it quite a lot. Before we debate it, Adam's Horror, thank you for pitching in for $5. I don't know if I think the what do you call it? The stream goal counter has stinged you on that one, but I count it. I'll be doing a manual count anyway for people in the wonderful, generous folk in the replays pitching in. So we'll work it out. But I say, by my reckoning, we're on our way. I think we're going to get that men's stream. But folks in the replay pitch in, make sure it happens. So the challenge in understanding this, right, is Caleb has been taken in. The thing that draws him in, as we've said, is lust. He cannot resist the Khazar milkers. He has fallen victim to them and subscribed to the Daily Wire. And then he returns in a shameful, naked, delirious state. And it's very briefly after this, as you say, he coughs that up and dies. But can we be certain of what's happened to him? Has he gained salvation? Actually, before I talk further, Harry, do you have a take on this? Is he saved? Is he damned?
I think he's saved. I know he dies and he's only, 10 or 11 or something, but he's got the closest to a happy death that anybody in this has. He's surrounded by his family. They're all there to comfort him. He reaches an enlightened state of being where he accepts the light of Christ and can feel him pulling him in. And I see the spitting out of the apple as a rejection of the temptation and corruption. You can see it as almost, like metaphorical or a bit of a laugh at his expense. Well, here's your apple. But ultimately, he expels the poison apple from his body and dies kind of purified in a sense.
Whereas the twins are in spazzing out, literally, while the prayers are going on, and they don't stop until they force Caleb to stop, and they pry open his jaws, and then the children settle down. Can't quite. There's symbolism there. Some of it's just so blatant, but I feel there's something more, but I can't put my finger on it.
No, that's fine. It is. There are a lot of mixed signals in it because I think Eggers wants us to think about it, wants us to puzzle it out. He doesn't want to spell it out for us at all. But I feel like if we're in a world in which witches actually exist and can literally do the stuff that we're told they can, then it's not too crazy to think that Eggers is also writing a world where faith matters and is real as well. That seems to be how I understand it. And so the rule we're given that you can't pray if the devil is in you explains why Jonas and Mercy cannot pray. but Thomasin can. She hasn't given over her soul at that point, so she's fine. And Caleb is also able to pray once he gets the apple out. I took the same interpretation Harry did. The apple is your classic suggestion. It's spat out and it's revealed as rotten. We should also note that apples are referenced multiple times in the film, and they're always a kind of, just your classic. This isn't going to be groundbreaking for anyone, but they're a symbol of temptation and longing, and particularly longing for the homeland. Occasionally, the first time they're mentioned, they're basically a lie, a noble lie, but to placate the mother. It's always a symbol of just like greater desire. He rejects it, spits it out, and I think then the fact that he has this thoroughly ecstatic vision is very challenging for us. Like, as a modern audience, it's extremely challenging. It borders very deliberately into the erotic, and the script is candid about this. But I think we have quite a lot of ground to take it as it is and say that he is actually saved. Oh, sorry. Thank you. I'll try again. I think even though it's very challenging for us as a modern audience, particularly, I think most people are going to be secular, non-religious. Even as a Christian, it's a bit weird to watch for me. But we are given evidence in the film that this can be taken as just straight up salvation, and that evidence for me is Catherine sharing with William after the loss of Samuel, like her losses, and how she talks to him about dreams she had in England and how she felt basically ecstatic then. She's a bit more coy in her language, but she's basically talking about dreams where she felt the love of Christ that went, to a similar place that Caleb is feeling. So this is a long-winded way of basically saying that the film seems to support the idea that ecstatic love, that love for Jesus, that can easily be read as erotic, is actually just wholesome Christian devotion. How does that sound?
No, I agree. It's the kind of thing that, sounds weird from an oversexed modern audience, where they see this kind of thing. Well, they hear the idea of "let me kiss you on the mouth," and they only see it in an erotic context. But then you've got scenes where, like in Lord of the Rings, where Boromir is dying and Aragorn kisses him, and it's not erotic. There's nobody trying to suggest that means that they were actually butt buddies the whole time. It's just that was a sign of platonic love between them, and that's what this film is trying to suggest with Jesus Christ, and what Caleb is saying here. I think again that's just the dirty modern mind importing intentions onto this that aren't there.
Yeah, Eggers is very, like, he really stands out as someone sincere and trying to inhabit these worlds and really just let people be people from the time, unironically, which is a challenge, as you say, for a very debased society. Speaking of debased, excited about the upcoming bonus stream. It looks like people are going to pay for it. Lawrence has chipped in £2 to say, "I love Men." The film, of course, yes. Don't worry, everyone's going to love Men. You're gonna have a deeper view into Men than, people who spent 1,000 hours looking at Goatsy. I'm going to be categorical on that film. You will come away feeling Alex Garland is utterly based. And Adam's Horror again, $2. Thank you so much. So a happy ending, yes. The knowledge of good is evil. And yet, hey, if William's problem is that he is he's leaving the colony because he's antinomian, it's a little It's a little hint of the older trying to have the knowledge of good of evil, free of the knowledge of good of evil. It's got a little hint of that to it, hasn't it? Got a little hint of it. Although, of course, my understanding of that is basically it is about people making their own rationalizations and basically trying to say that they can make their own moral judgments versus following God's will, is my understanding of what the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is. But not always easily always easily understood. Yeah, it takes a little unpicking in this one, and there's that room for doubt because the thing that gets Caleb into trouble is the seduction. And if the idea is he's having this sort of kind of erotic religious vision, is that just the witch screwing with him again?
Yeah.
I go with the salvation reading.
Again, I think him spitting out the apple to me, literally expelling corruption and evil from his body, suggests that he's rejected it and managed to save himself.
Yes, I'm going for the good ending. I think that's what's going on. It's harder symbology than you get in most places, you know. I was going to do us a little like walkthrough of movie symbology and just give a few other examples. I thought we might go over long if I did that, but I pulled this one out just for comparison from The Omen. If people remember this scene, this is where Lee Remick, the mother of the Antichrist, Damien, is sort of doing cleaning around the house, and she pops a goldfish bowl up, and then she stands on the banister with the goldfish bowl to do some dusting. And then Damien comes along on his little tricycle, knocks her off, and the first thing we see is the goldfish bowl go down and smash. And we know, well, she's pregnant. So seeing the goldfish bowl, you know, the round space with the little living things in, like, oh, it's a symbol for losing the baby. Ah. Yeah, it's a bit more complex than that symbology wise, but I think we can get through it. I will have to see how Novum interprets that, but yes, Dr. Prepper, he chose Jesus over the Khazar milkers. Good on him. Oh dear. In terms of other symbology, I'm just going to skip to this interesting frame at the end. What else do you think Eggers might be trying to say with this film? But do you think there's an overall take on it? Do you lean towards he's warning about the dangers of religion that seems to be Novum's take?
No. I think Eggers is being straight with the story. I really do. The symbolism there is the freedom from morality, going sky-clad in the woods. He's playing it straight with New England folklore. I don't think he's making a statement on religion or Satanism, what have you, even though the Temple of Satan absolutely loves this movie, but it's Eggers.
They do?
Oh yeah, they love it.
But Satan's minions murder babies in this film.
Yeah, but the freedom at the end.
The freedom that was bought with the blood of innocence.
Hang on, let me just look up who the head of that church is. Just be a second. Yeah, I think I've got it on Wikipedia.
What does Wikipedia have to say about this man?
Let me just do some research.
But yeah, Eggers is playing it straight. I mean, he's taking authentic New England folklore and showing what it is with a bad ending, much like most of the fairy tales and the folklore of the time, as a warning almost. But the symbolism is there of what the New Englanders and the English thought witch covens were.
That's true. I could also see, like, legitimately a kind of parable about the dangers of pride and covetousness. I mean, William explicitly says that he's been infected with the sin of pride, and it is his pride in how strict he is with his religious beliefs, forcing his family out of civilization, putting them in danger, and then the rest of the family struggle with lust and covetousness. I do think there's some old-fashioned morality play going on here about the dangers of sinful behavior.
Oh yeah, he's playing it straight with New England folklore and fairy tales. There are always morality plays. I was going to. When I first saw it, I thought it was going to follow along the lines of Miller's The Crucible, but it never did.
And thank God for that.
But it's... No, Eggers told the tale straight.
I really like what you pointed out about the sort of how the witches basically get to do anything. They're freed from the restrictions. I think that's quite key. And the morality tale about how people are bought off in simple ways. It really strikes me that basically they all have their little things, but it's like Thomasin's very simple. She misses glass in the house. She misses butter. Like, these little things can win her over.
And Caleb misses apples. Everybody's longing for something, including William, who yearns for vindication and autonomy to follow his beliefs as much as possible. But it's shown the weakness. He's shown the weakness of pride and pays for it with Black Phillip. And Black Phillip is so true to the myths. The black goat of the woods.
Yeah. The hares as well. You know, by the way, if you're wondering, where is she? Where is my girl here? The hare was played by Dizzy. I'm sure you all wanted to know that. Yeah, Charlie played Black Phillip, and Dizzy the hare was very good in filming, by the way. I'll get up this amazing shot just when we go into the discussion. Harry, what did you think this was trying to get at? And would you even say Eggers tries to put a message in? Because I'm sort of presupposing he does, whereas I know you are an Eggers guy.
I mean, I as mentioned a moment ago, I think there is old-fashioned morality being told through this story. But in the same way that Murgoot is saying, I think he is telling a story that is true to the world that the characters would inhabit, and is therefore embodying those morals that the characters would hold themselves. So he's playing the story straight, and as a result of taking their beliefs seriously and respecting their view, he's telling the same sort of story that they would and presenting the same kinds of morals that they would. I don't know if he had a specific message in it. Some creators don't go into a film thinking, I want to tell this story with this message. They just go, he seems like enough of a classic enthusiast on all things historical that he decided, I'm fascinated with this period in time. I want to tell a story that's true to the stories that they would tell themselves, and that's what I'm going to do. And the message came through naturally and organically as a result of that.
Nicely said, yeah. I think I missed the first part of it when you first said, because I was looking up the priest of the Church of Satan. Didn't say much, but he's apparently grew up in New York. So, yeah, I think there's a lot to that. When a long time ago, I did a little video on pro-life and pro-choice messaging in horror movies. I don't think I actually included the Vitch in there, but I was tempted. I can't even remember, but I did ponder if there was a little bit of that in there, you know, basically. You know, I might have actually said it. Yeah, there's a little bit of thing about, you know, kill your baby and you can move up in the world. Like, somewhat.
But also the sacrifice of
ironically.
your family.
Yeah.
And your connection to civilization.
Yeah.
And
I
all
mean,
morality.
I think something I get from this is, I mean, no disagreement with what you guys said. It is the morality of the time. I think for a modern audience, what I see is sort of something that in The Witches, we're seeing a warning about what that total freedom is, what that freedom from strict social rules is. And it might look extremely glamorous, but that glamour, where is she? That glamour is false. It's just a ruse. When you get down to it, you know, that even if you don't take the pro-life angle on it, which might be a reach from me, might be a total reach, ultimately what you're getting, like this full-on liberation in the chaos of the woods, is actually very, very animalistic, you know? It's, I mean, there's a bit of an echo here of like the woman kind of looks like she's doing some pole dancing. Yes, Lawrence, thank you. Yes, your comments match what I found. Also, possibly the guy following on from him as well. Who knows? Oh, and I also see Adam's Horror supporting channel again. You absolute star, sending in another $2. You've got to have got at least 2 of the spots on this the book quest now already. Thank you. Saying the father had the pride before the fall. Yeah, absolutely. It was his issue. I think it might have been entering the fall season. Yeah, so the vibe I'm getting is just this thing like you'll be promised the world if you go for this freedom, do what you want, but ultimately the reality is going to be quite grim and necessitate some quite horrible things. I also wondered, like, a criticism of William is possibly a warning about that pride, about that ideological purity, about the idea that actually you may have a disagreement with people from your group. They might not be 100% in line with you, but if you totally reject them and go out on your own, you're very vulnerable. You know, there are a lot of forces out in the world that can destroy you very quickly. Whereas if you do make the compromises and stick with the group, then you do have safety, and maybe that is what is best for your family. I don't know, possibly reading a bit too much into it there, but those ideas sort of stood out to me watching this film. And I've watched it a fair few times now, and we'll probably watch it again. It's fantastic. That's another one of my schizo readings, isn't it? I've done it again.
No, that isn't schizo.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a fair reading.
Yeah. So nice. It's a nice moderate one. It's a nice moderate one. Thank you again, Adam, sending in $2. We're working on that third spot in the book. I appreciate it. That's very generous tonight. Thank you. The witch would. Well, she is 18 at the time of filming the scene, so you're absolutely fine with that word. I'd live deliciously.
It's such a shame what Anya Taylor-Joy has done to her face.
Yeah, this is pre-bogging. I forgot to mention.
She was a very pretty girl. I don't have any problem with how far apart her eyes were. And
yeah,
now,
you like quads.
Yeah, and now she's just had all of the fat. So that, like, women do realize that, like, the like chubby cheeks makes them look more feminine and youthful, right? Rather than like gaunt draugrs.
Well, there's something about either the facial liposuction or the Ozempic treatment that just makes them look skeletal on the face.
I think
and
called
the hanging
buccal fat
skin.
removal.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's
I need to
I
check
know.
something about buccal fat removal.
Sorry, what's that?
I need to check something about this buccal fat removal. Who were the great innovators who came up with it, and were they New Yorkers?
Let's find out. There we are. Post buccal fat. I mean, I'm not doing this to have a go, and this isn't a gossip stream, but it's just, it is a shame. It is a shame. Like, didn't need to get bogged. She's absolutely beautiful in this, you know. Didn't need to happen. Did not need to happen. Yeah. Where's that lovely shot of her? Also very interesting that Black Phillip, when he finally speaks, and how good is a film that they can just throw in an actual talking goat and people are like, yeah, cool. Also, Black Phillip's counterpart is the only bit of diverse casting there in the whole movie, by a chap credited at the time as Wahab Chowdhury, but I believe now Daniel Malik, according to the Wikipedia. I think that's actually a really good choice, just because it emphasizes how different he is, like how otherworldly he is. You don't get to see much of him, but it's just another subtle touch from Eggers to differentiate him from her. Yeah, excellent stuff. Well, we're being efficient here, folks. We've covered a heck of a lot of the film. I never intended us to get to a 7.5 hour cut like Novum's done. I would recommend to watch it if you want to see every detail pulled apart and amazing amounts of research. Watch his stream. I just thought something we could do in here is maybe give a little counterpoint to some of the progressive slants that you will get in that video, which I think we've done a good job on. But unless you folks had another particular thing you wanted to cover, then shall we go for our closing thoughts and scores?
Happy to.
Sweet. Harry, would you like to lead us off?
Yes. Okay. So the film sets up great atmosphere. It tells a very compelling story. It's very efficient with everything. The characters and performances and writing are all fantastic. And I love that it really transports you to the time period. There is, however, one problem that I have with this film, which is it's creepy and it has good atmosphere, but at no point does this film ever scare me. Which is a shame. But just for whatever reason, it doesn't get that tingling sensation on the back of my neck running down my spine that some films like The Shining can. It's despite that, it's still very well made, and the situations it shows are horrific, so it definitely earns the horror name. But if I want to be scared, this isn't the first film I go for. Despite that, everything else that I've said about its positives still holds up, so I'd give it a 9 out of 12 burgers. I'm too tired to come up with anything witty, so insert your own witty condiments as well in that
Bless
case.
You have done a heck of a day. So again,
I am exhausted.
bless you. No, we really appreciate it. We're very efficient with that in mind. Murgoot, how about yourself?
I love this film. As Harry said, it's atmospheric. The cinematography is excellent. I love the use of natural light. The contrast between the grays and the beiges and the greens versus the red. It sets you in colonial New England, and you don't forget it. You're along for the ride. It's well written. I know there were problems originally with it being a 5-act following the characters individually, and then it was rewritten to be a linear story, which it's simple but very, very, very effective. And I'm with Harry. There wasn't any blatant feeling of horror, but the feeling of tension ramping up through the whole movie, and questioning yourself and questioning the characters is a very big positive. It's well acted. Even the child actors did a brilliant job. Eggers may have had a problem, but the children were directed wonderfully. They hit their lines, especially in the songs. Very, very effective use of history. I give it a strong 10 out of 12 with a little bit of baby fat.
I know some clinics in New York you can get that from. All right, no, that's great. We're pretty aligned here. I'm seeing a few 9s, and we know Harry is a selective critic. You know, those burgers are hard earned. Harry is not as biased as I am. So it's like Tricky Menthol. A Tricky Menthol 5 is most people's 7. But I'm seeing the 10s come in. I've seen an 11 come in from Adam Loves Horror. So Black Phillip, I'm behind that DI higher. You added again. I love this film, 11 burgers. Since no Tony Todd, exactly. You are hitting the Tony Todd cap. The score, the acting, well done. Wish it didn't have nudity. I suppose the most of the nudity you are getting is like the hag from The Shining. So, yeah. Oh, and Daniel Hall's gone for 11 as well. Well, I'm actually going to follow suit. This is an 11 for me. Completely agree that it is not scary in the sense of any jumping. Maybe 1 or 2 moments that they try to get a quick one from you, but I didn't feel that they put a huge amount of effort into actually spooking you. Probably the biggest jump they tried to get was when Black Phillip gores Ralph Ineson. But otherwise, they were just generally going with disturbing you, unsettling you, giving you moments of grotesque unease, which, yeah, creates a powerful atmosphere like Midsommar, but it's not really going to spook you so much. It's a fair critique. The cinematography, beautiful. Like, so much research has gone into this, and it has created an extremely powerful world. The script tells you it's based in Salem, but they never say that. which is probably just a good example of like the work that has gone in is not splashed about. If they'd just gone out and said Salem, it would be like a cue directly to the audience. They don't do that. It's an extremely grounded world that is backed up by the research. That was possibly very incoherent because I'm also tired. But yeah, this is just an incredible film. It manages to make witches threatening. It's, again, make them a genuine threat, but also get a lot out of their context. And as I argued, say a little bit about what they might mean for the modern world. I see how this film portrays witches and how there was a big push to make witches cool again, something Novum seems oddly happy about in the start of his video. And like, this film makes it clear why no witches should not be celebrated. Apologies for any Wiccans in the chat. You know, I love you, really. Yeah, I mean, I think he's not talking about that, but more the idea of that. The idea of utter liberation being the goal. What would that do for you? Anyway, so a thought-provoking film, a beautiful film, amazingly well acted, and incredible for being a debut. Even if it doesn't hit the scary points for me, this is a standout, and it just flies by. So it's a strong 11 for me. No Tony Todd. Imagine if Tony Todd had done Black Phillip. Very strong 12 in that case.
No makeup, nothing. He's just on all fours.
Oh God! No one create that with Grok. No one. Oh dear, that's. You started the stream with a horrific, disturbing image in the lavatory, and now you end with furry Tony Todd. I hate it. Why would you do this, Harry? Why would you do this? Well,
because I'm going to be having disturbing dreams tonight, which means that everybody else has to.
But squats and popcorn is not going to sort of leave you settled for a good night's dreaming. You're going to have some nightmares from that, definitely. All right. Well, folks, I'm trying to keep this one efficient. I know Harry's knackered. Super grateful that you were here tonight, Harry. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me on. I hope I've not dragged this stream down too badly.
No, you're absolutely grand. And thank you also, Murgoot.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
No, brilliant bit of history
Rewatching
posting.
this film.
Brilliant bit of history posting.
Yeah, and if you've got any like books or anything on the time period that that you think would be really interesting, just let me know, because I'm always looking to learn.
I'll DM you. I think I don't have them anymore, but if I can find the references, I'll DM them to you. Another one, another YouTube channel you might look up. They have a couple on the Seven Nations, is the Lore Lodge.
The Lore Lodge. All right, thank you.
Yeah, groovy. See, that the history I'm shocking at, so I really appreciate that in particular, Murgoot. And chat, thank you. You've been very generous. The stream goals is this happened last time, which is why I've not done it for a while. The stream goals have not actually calculated people who clearly gave over the $5 limit, so it's a tad broken. Don't worry about it. I will be going through and doing a manual check. If you're listening to this at this point and you want to make that men's stream happen, do chip in. It will be a bonus stream, which I really want to do. And I also really want that fancy book. So pitch in. It'll be much appreciated. You too, via super thanks, can make it happen. So yeah, thank the panel. Thank the chat. You've been super generous tonight, chat, and I really appreciate it. You've had your review of The Witch. We have one regular member request remaining, and I will be doing the other one as an additional bonus stream because it's bloody hard to get hold of, and I don't think that many people manage it. So I'm going to package that in. I might package it in with next week, actually, as the bonus. We'll see how it goes. That film I can't get hold of for anyone is The Bleeding House from 2011. Try and find it. But the film we're going to cover for your horror homework is Calvaire. That's Calvaire, or you might find it as The Ordeal. The director is Fabrice Duvels. So try that. That should be quite a hard-hitting one. Because, you know, the European horror, it can go pretty rough. Watched a French one called 7 Days earlier. Horrible. Horrible stuff. They've got a good license to go over the line in France. So there you go. Calvaire, or The Ordeal by Fabrice Duvels. Give that a go. I think it'll be an interesting one. Comes from a chap who does nothing but great suggestions. So I'm looking forward to that one. So,
if you want to watch The Bleeding House, it is available on Tubi TV in the US, or if you have a VPN, it is available this month.
well, there we go. That might be a topic section then. So yeah, there you go. You've had your review of The Witch. You've had you've got your horror homework for next week. And I hope you got a lovely Friday and a lovely weekend ahead of you. Chat, thank you ever so much. And thank whatever I say every week. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
Chill gang.
Chill gang. Classic.